Another story, probably around the year 1967. I was probably about 11, 12 years old. More likely 12. Yeah, because it would have been the summer and my birthday is in April. Well, in the summer, one of the most exciting things and beloved things to happen was when my parents would decide to go on vacation to North Carolina. Not for camping trips, not to run around in the mountains, but to visit my mother's mother, my beloved grandmother and granddad. They lived on a little dirt road in Mount Airy, North Carolina, the western part of the state. So going to see my grandparents, leaving the sprawling metropolis of Washington, D.C., was always a huge adventure. I remember the trip seemed to take forever to get there, 12, 13 hours. It just was a huge amount of time involved to get to my grandmother's house. But the reward, the joy of getting to Grandma's was just wonderful. Now, my grandmother and grandfather, they had indoor plumbing, but it was only to the kitchen sink. And that was it. They didn't even have a bathroom. So yes, visiting Grandma and Grandpa in North Carolina was really interesting. Going to the outhouse, and at night, using the chamber pot, which also required emptying the next day. Taking baths in galvanized tubs. Oh my, what memories of being at Grandma's house. But you know, the fun was incredible, the food was incredible, the camaraderie, the totally different culture. Old guys spitting tobacco, Grandma dipping snuff, a haze of tobacco smoke curling around the naked light bulb hanging in the living room, a little pull cord hanging in the living room from the naked light bulb. People playing cards on Saturday night, playing a game called Rook. Right around midnight, Grandma would rise up and say, "Now y'all are going to need to stop that smoking. Y'all are going to need to stop playing cards. It's almost Sunday." Sure enough, Grandma, the matriarch, she ruled. There was not to be card playing or smoking in her house on Sunday. Now, Grandma, she was a wonderful, wonderful little old lady. And I enjoyed talking with her and being with her. There were some times in my life when I would be down there for extended periods of time, and the rest of the family would go back to Maryland. I remember visiting with my uncle, helping him set up his mobile home that he hauled all the way from Laurel, Maryland to Mount Airy, set up on some property he bought. In that particular year, I stayed in North Carolina for 3 weeks one summer. Wow. What an adventure. Grandma liked her snuff. She liked her stories, which was soap operas. She called them her stories. And Grandma also loved wrestling. Yes. Big, sweaty men wrestling. Grandma loved it. She said, "I got to watch my wrestling." Well, those are just some of the memories. I have many, many stories. The story I was thinking of when I was about 12 is I was down there one summer out in the barn with the rest of the men and boys, and they had gotten in a bunch of pigs, and they were going to turn them into great big old hogs. So part of turning a pig into a hog, I don't particularly understand it. but they had to remove the testicles of the male pigs. I am not kidding. Right there in front of me, with knives and kerosene, they would slit open the poor pig, remove the testicles while some guy was holding them down, snip them off with a razor, and pitch these mountain oysters, so-called, to the cats. Well, then they would reach in and slather them with kerosene as a disinfectant. Wouldn't stitch them up, wouldn't staple them, wouldn't nothing, and let them go into the holding pen after suffering such an operation. Well, it was bad enough watching that and being fascinated by the grotesqueness of it all, but it was every day for these guys. That's just the way you do it. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. Well, you got all these wounded pigs, angry pigs, upset pigs in their holding pen, emasculated pigs. Pig eunuchs, I don't know what you call them. And my uncle and my cousins say to me, John, you need to go out into the pig pen. There's that little narrow space there between the pile of barrels and the wagon wheel there and the fence. We're going to open up the gate here in the holding pen on the side of the barn so these pigs can get out and wander and get down by the creek and the mud and everything. But we don't want them to go past you. So you stand there and you hold your ground and make sure these pigs don't get past you. Well, I was a city boy, and I thought, well, I guess that's my job to block this little pathway where the pigs, they don't want the pigs to go. I guess they wanted to go a different way. What I didn't know is that was the way the pigs always went. That was their path to get to where they wanted to be. And after what had happened to them and the pain they were in and the anger and the shock and the burning kerosene and all of them in there banging around each other in the holding pen, when they opened that little door up and let the pigs out and the pigs wanted to get down to the cool mud, they came stampeding straight for me. Here I am, little city boy, 12 years old, with my knobby knees and my curly hair, just looking at these pigs coming at me like a horde of demons. I mean, they were running and slinging mud and dirt and snorting and tripping and falling, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. There was nowhere to go. So I did a backflip. I literally jumped backwards over the fence, head first, with my feet flipping up over my head to get out of the way of these pigs. My uncle and my grandfather and my cousins and everybody watching thought that was the best fun, watching John take a dive to get out of the way of all the pigs. That's just some of the things I had to endure as a young city boy visiting my relatives down on the farm.